Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm really sorry for the delay in starting with surgery because there were a lot of uncertainties and postponements going on about regarding the 2021 NEET PG counseling and stuff like that. But anyways, let's keep every uncertainty and all the controversies aside and just focus on our goal, that is studying, right? Because it is like written everywhere that we should just do what we are meant to do, like karm karne chahiye, right? And we should not like think about the result. Once only we are done with the exam, then we should think about it, or we should not even think about it, just look at it when it comes, right? So keeping all the anxieties and the insecurities aside, let us begin with the rapid revision of surgery. So starting with general surgery, the first topic that we are doing is breast cancer. Right. So, in breast cancer, the question that is asked frequently is the involvement of skin and chest. Remember that ulceration and satellite nodules means that the skin is involved, while if the question mentions rib, serratus anterior, intercostal muscles, it is the involvement of chest. Very importantly, pectoralis major muscle involvement is not considered as involvement of chest, right? And also, it is an important point that contralateral lymph node constitutes metastasis, right? For example, if we have a cancer in the right breast, and if there is the presence of intermammary lymph node in the left breast, this means that it is metastatic, right? Now, LCIS, that is lobular cancer in situ. So it is a benign disease with a risk of breast cancer, right? And what is the risk? It is 1% per year. Remember, it is not pre-malignant. That is, it is in situ. Okay, it is already cancer which has not invaded the basement membrane. It is management. It is managed by active surveillance, which is most commonly done. And apart from that, tamoxifen can be given. And if the female is too anxious or she has a family history, then bilateral prophylactic mastectomy can also be done. Then HER2/neu, right? So it is uh, a mutation which is identified by immunohistochemistry, and remember it has a membrane receptor, so we will have brown areas on the membrane, not inside the nucleus, right? Now, this question was asked in INICT this year as well, November 2021, that how will you proceed if a female comes with 2 plus HER2/neu positivity? So let us see. It is either 0, 1 plus, which is considered negative, right? 2 is equivocal, and 3 plus is 100% positive. So, if the patient has 3 plus positivity, then we can treat her with Herceptin, which is trastuzumab, right? It is given for 1 year, and it is started with chemotherapy, but it is continued for 1 year, right? When the report says 2 plus, that is equivocal. So what we advise the female to undergo fluorescent in situ hybridization, right? Now after FISH, there can be two results. Either there is non-amplification, then it is considered negative, while if amplification is present, then it is treated as a positive case. Remember, this was the question that was asked in November 21 INICT. Now what would be the next step to perform in a female who is 2 plus positive, 2 plus HER2/neu receptor positive? All right. Next important concept is axillary dissection. So remember, the boundary is formed by axillary vein superiorly, the thoracodorsal pedicle medially, right? And inferiorly we have the angular vein, while laterally there will be Halsted ligament. The most common nerve injured is ICBN. I have made a separate video listing the most common nerve injured in various surgeries. The link can be seen in the description, right? Then radiotherapy can be given. The indications for radiotherapy are either lymph node is positive, right? Post breast conservation surgery. Now, breast conservation surgery is a conservative surgery, right? That is only the part and a margin of the tumor is removed, while the entire breast is not removed. So, if we perform simple procedures in cancers, then post that radiotherapy is given to ensure that there is proper margin clearance or R0 margin clearance, right? Third, locally advanced breast cancer or LABC. In all these conditions, uh, radiotherapy will also be given, right? It is of two types: whole breast irradiation, right, or accelerated partial breast radiation, WBI and APBI. So in whole breast radiation, right, it is given for 25 days, 5 days per week for 5 weeks, and here the dose is 54 grays. What is irradiated is the chest wall, the supraclavicular fossa, as well as the infraclavicular fossa. While in ABPI, it is just given for 5 days, and the dose is also less, which is 40 grays. And here only infiltration of tumor bed is done. So what are the indications of ABPI? Right, if the female is elderly, that is more than 60 years old, T1 stage, ERPR positive, unifocal cancer, or there is no lymphovascular invasion. Right, remember that all 5 of these conditions should be present to give ABPI. Otherwise, whole breast irradiation is also is only given. Right, what is that? What are the 5 conditions for APBI? Elderly, T1 stage, ERPR positive, unifocal, and no lymphovascular invasion. Right, then there are some genes that can be asked, like what are associated with breast cancer. First is PAM50, right? It is a 50 gene assay. Then EndoPredict, it is a 12 gene assay. Oncotype DX, it is a 21 gene assay. This was asked in some exam, I can't recall which one. Then T2, T1, T2, N0, M0 cancer type or ERPR positive cancers are for those cancers oncotype DX is done. And then fourth is mamma print, right? Like these can be asked, which of the following is not a gene assay to predict some breast cancer, something like that, right? So remember PAM50, EndoPredict, oncotype DX, and mamma print. Then NSABP trial, right? Here 5 years of HRT is given, and there is another Atlas trial. This was asked in PGI. It was for 10 years, like 10 years of HRT was given to see the risk of breast cancer. Right, now what is the survival rate after breast conservation surgery? The overall survival is same, right, after like giving HRT, and after mastectomy also the overall survival is same, while the locoregional recurrence is more with BCS, while it is less in mastectomy, right? Therefore we remember then the indication for radiotherapy was a breast conservation surgery because of increased risk of locoregional recurrence. Okay, then uh, invasive breast cancer, more than 25% is constituted by ductal carcinoma in situ. Right. This question was also asked that Vanus staging is also done. It is done for invasive, ductal carcinoma in situ. Here, what is included? This can be asked as the new NEET pattern question, that 1, 2, 3 correct, 2, 4 correct, right? They will give you options like age, type, size, margin, ERPR status. So age, type, size, and margin status are included in the Van News scoring, while ERPR positivity is not included. Right, now, to diagnose breast cancer, right, breast biopsy is done. So the ideal size of the needle used is 16 gauge needle, and a punch biopsy instrument is used, and core biopsy, these all constitute as incisional biopsy, right? Remember there are two types of biopsy: incisional biopsy and excisional biopsy. Punch biopsy and core biopsy are part of incisional biopsy. Now suppose there is a question that there is a female who presents with bilateral breast cancer, right? On the right the stage is T1N0, while on the left it is T2N1. um, the right side is triple negative, right? T1N0 triple negative. So here the best management would be breast conservation surgery followed by a radiotherapy. While if the patient is T2N1, like node is involved, here also radiotherapy would be done. Now this female is triple positive, like all the receptors are positive. So here the best answer should be mastectomy. That entire breast should be removed, right? And if it is HER2 new positive, then what should be done? So what is the management? It is bilateral radiotherapy plus Herceptin, that is trastuzumab, because she is HER2/neu 3 positive, HER2/neu positive, and the positivity is also 3 plus, right? So on the left side, what is done? Mastectomy. On the right side, what is done? Breast conservation surgery followed by radiotherapy, right? And since nodes are involved on the left side, so radiotherapy is also done on left side. So what is the answer? Bilateral radiotherapy plus Herceptin or trastuzumab, because she is HER2/neu 3 plus positive. Okay. Then there is a new drug, palbociclib, right? It is given in metastatic ER/PR positive HER2/neu negative patients. All right. That is only ER/PR receptor positive and HER2/neu negative. If HER2/neu is positive, then Herceptin is given. Remember these two drugs, they can be asked in any exam, especially JIPMER or PGI, that is, they can ask in INICT. Herceptin and palbociclib. Now this completes our breast cancer. Okay. And flap, it is also a very important question. It can be asked as a direct image based question, and the most common question they ask is either upon a DIEP flap or a tram flap, right? So the most common flap that is used is a tram flap, right? It is a transverse rectus abdominis muscle flap, right? It is based on superior epigastric vessel. This is important. You should know the vessel upon which it is based. Here remember that the muscle is taken out. Okay, the disadvantage is that the muscle is removed, so there is increased risk of incisional hernia and abdominal wall weakness, obviously, because muscle is not present, so there will be herniation after surgery, after the flap is being formed. So to remove this problem, a DIEP flap is used, which is the best flap, right? Then second, the best flap for bed sores, right? It is tensor fascia lata flap. Remember, the most common site is ischium followed by greater trochanter. Ischium and greater. Okay, ischium first, greater trochanter second. This is for bed sores. Tensor fascial lata flap. Right. Then staging. Stage 1 is a non-blanching erythema without any breach. This is staging for bed sores, and for this, the treatment is keep the area dry and frequent position change. Right. Second stage is erythema plus discharge. In third stage, there is subcutaneous tissue involvement can be seen, and fourth stage, muscle, bone, tendon, and even joint can be seen. So there is a picture, and you can see the bone as the base of the, not as the base of the floor of the bed sore. Then you can say that it is stage 4 bed sore. This has also been asked in some exam. Third, for head and neck surgery, the flap is deltopectoral flap, right? So we have learned about tram and DIP flap for breast cancer. Then for bed sores, tensor fascia lata, most common site being ischium, followed by greater trochanter, right? And for head and neck surgery, deltopectoral flap is used, and it is based on perforators of internal mammary artery, right? Second, PMMC flap. It is the most common flap used in head and neck surgery, right? The preferred is deltopectoral, but the most common is PMMC flap, which is a pectoral, which is based upon pectoral branch of thoracoacromial vessels, right? Other flaps are radial artery forearm flap, then free fibular flap, which is the best flap for mandible reconstruction, and it is based upon peroneal vessels. This has also been asked, free fibular flap for mandible. It seems like a tongue twister. You should try it. Free fibular flap, free fibular flap, right? Yeah, for mandible surgery. For staging, there is a combined video of staging of all the cancers that I will upload later while doing the most volatile topic revision. Okay. Now, second is the oral cancer. So the investigation of choice for staging is PET-CT, right? Remember, in the new stage, the T stage, depth of invasion, it is an independent prognostic factor. End stage, it denotes extranodal extension. It is also an independent prognostic factor for this cancer. So T stage is the depth of invasion, and end stage is the extranodal extension. But the most important prognostic factor, if they ask overall, is the cervical lymph node status. Then trauma. Trauma is one topic which is very important in INICT exams, and in NEET also there is one question or the other on trauma. So this is 5-star important topic, right? Okay, So let us read about invasive ICP monitoring. ICP is intraparenchymal pressure, right? So for invasive ICP monitoring, the probes are kept in frontal lobe. I think this was a question asked, just remember this. Then neck trauma, right? This is asked the zones in neck trauma. There are two zones that are asked, first in neck trauma and second the retroperitoneal zones. So first let us look at the neck trauma zones. First is from thoracic inlet to the cricoid. All right. Second is cricoid to the mandible, and this is the most common zone to be injured because it is the most accessible. And third is mandible to the base of skull. Right. For less than 15% penetrating injury, less than 15% penetrating injury is required for formal neck exploration. All right. If the patient is unstable and if platysma is breached, then formal neck exploration is done. Right, and only 15% of the injuries require a formal neck exploration. I don't know. Then cricothyroidectomy. It is not performed in children less than 12 years due to subglottic stenosis. Okay, then it is an initial or an emergency airway. Obviously, up to 6 millimeter tube can be used and it is completed in 2 to 3 minutes. Cricothyroidectomy is done before tracheostomy, right, in emergency conditions. What is to be remembered is that not done in younger children because there is risk of subglottic stenosis. Then up to 6 millimeter tube, the maximum size of the tube this can be asked is 6 millimeter, and it is a fast procedure. That is why it is preferred in emergency. Then thoracotomy. Remember, anterolateral thoracotomy is done when? What are the conditions? Very important. First, there is more than 200 ml per hour blood for 3 hours, right? Right, for 3 hours there is continuous blood coming out, that is more than 200 ml in each hour, or there is more than 1 liter blood at the time of insertion of the tube, right? If this is present, then thoracotomy is done. So emergency is cricothyroidotomy, then tracheostomy is done as in what we say definitive management of airway, and thoracotomy is done if there is massive bleeding, right? That is more than 200 ml per hour for 3 hours or more than 1 liter at the time of insertion of the tracheostomy tube. Then damage control surgery. Very important. Two things that are very important are that are new additions to the New Bailey are the daycare surgery, right? And second is damage control surgery and damage control resuscitation. Very important. These are the new changes. So let us see damage control surgery, right? First phase is identify the patient. Second, prevent contamination. And third, stop hemorrhage. Then in second phase, correction of physiology is done, and after the physiology is corrected, then only we correct the anatomy. So first is stop hemorrhage, identify the patient, prevent contamination. Second is correction of physiology, and after only correction of physiology, the anatomical correction is done. Okay, so Glasgow outcome score. Scores are also another topic which is very important, and I have made a video with all the scores at one place, right? So you can check it out in the description. But in trauma, Glasgow outcome score. So first is death, second is persistent vegetative state, third is severe disability, fourth is moderate disability, and fifth is good recovery. So remember, fifth is good recovery, right? 5 stages, and one is death. You can fill in the blanks between, right? Moderate, severe, and persistent vegetative state. 5 is good recovery. Like, so outcome score, because the outcome should be good. So 5 outcome, that is more the score, better would be the recovery, right? Then ATLS guidelines. Remember, there is a change. There was a change in the New Bailey that the fluid that is given is 1 liter in adults. That is, there should be judicious use of fluid, right? Initially, before it was mentioned that in the ATLS guidelines, the 2 liter fluid should be administered, but now it has been changed to 1 liter. That is judicious use of fluid to prevent volume overload. Okay, and in children, it is 20 ml per kg. or if the weight of the patient is less than 40 kg. Then mass transfusion protocol for children. So first 20 ml per kg is given, then after that 10 to 20 ml per kg is given. And remember the ratio of the components, that is packed RBC, fresh frozen plasma and platelets, should be 1 is to 1 is to 1. Third, video laryngoscopy can also be done. Right? Video laryngoscopy is done. Then another important topic with regard to trauma is shock. And very important is hypovolumic shock. So it is divided into four classes: 1, 2, 3, and 4. So first is just like when you donate blood, right? Here the blood loss is 0 to 15%. In the second, it is 15 to 30%. It goes like the score of a tennis game. Third, 30 to 40, and fourth is more than 40. Right? Amount is around 500 cc in 1 liter, 1.5 more than 2 liter. So remember, class 1 is just like blood transfusion. Here all the blood transfusion. So here all the parameters will be normal. The base deficit is up to -2 milliequivalent, and you get a fruity after you donate blood. So here the management is also oral liquids. In second stage, which is also known as compensated shock, here remember that the pulse rate would increase, right, while the BP is still normal because it is compensated, and the base deficit is now in the range of -2 to -6, and the treatment is IV crystalloids. Third is the decompensated stage. Here the vital starts to drop, the BP will fall, right, and the base deficit would also be -6 to -10, and here IV crystalloid can be supplemented with colloids in the ratio 3 is to 1. Finally, if the blood loss is more than 40% or more than 2 liter, and the patient would be in coma, the vitals will be non-recordable, right? The base deficit is more than -10 milliequivalents, and here the treatment is massive blood transfusion. So very simple table. Just remember, in 2 it is compensated, so the BP will be normal. Just there would be increase in pulse rate, while in decompensated the vitals will start to drop. Then crash trial was done, which shows that tranexamic acid is given if the BP falls, that is less than 90, and heart rate is more than 110. 1 gram stat is given, followed by 1 gram over 8 hours. Right? It helps in decreasing the mortality in the trauma patients. All right. Then, what are life-threatening injuries? This can be also asked in the new INICET pattern. Like, what are the life-threatening injuries? So first, the ABC, airway obstruction, tracheobronchial injury. This is the new that is included. Then breathing में injuries that are included: pneumothorax, either tension or open. C, circulation की problems like massive hemothorax and cardiac tamponade. Right. Remember, flail chest has been removed from life-threatening injuries. And there is also a change in the management of pneumothorax in adults, that initially a whiteboard needle was put in the second intercostal space in the mid-axillary line, while now it is put in the fifth intercostal space in adults, followed by ICD tube in the fifth intercostal space, while in children the needle is put in second intercostal space in mid-clavicular line, followed by intercostal drainage tube under water seal in the fifth intercostal space. Right, just remember, the very important, very easy way to learn is it is fifth intercostal space only. Only the needle part in children is put in the second intercostal space, that's it. Right. The ways to diagnose pneumothorax is by M mode ultrasound, where we can see the barcode sign, right, and the stetosphere sign. All right, abdominal trauma. So blunt abdominal trauma, if the patient is stable, then the investigation of choice is CCT, but the first investigation choice is fast. Remember, if the patient comes, the first investigation will be fast. Then we see whether the patient is stable or not. If he is stable, we tell him to undergo CECT. If he is unstable, then he has to undergo fast only, followed by explorative laparotomy. Right. So the investigation choice for unstable patient is fast. In penetrating injury, if it is superficial to peritoneum, then only local exploration and suturing can be done. In case of peritoneal breach, right, that is, the patient has peritonitis, omentum hanging out, or bile is staining the dressing, for these cases explorative laparotomy is advised. Exception is that If there is a penetrating wound in the flanks and the patient is stable, in that case we can do CECT to localize the area of the injury. Then urinoma, urine leak, very important. It is the stage 4 renal injury. ठीक है. If there is urinoma, it is directly stage 4. And if it is sterile, then degestenting is done. While infected, then drain needs to be put in. So the most common organ injured, this can be asked. Right, in penetrating, it is liver more than small intestine. It is in blunt, it is spleen. In deceleration injury, DJ flexure. Seatbelt injury, mesentery. And gunshot wound, small intestine. So, enteral nutrition, it can be enteral means mouth, right? If the patient is unable to eat for less than 3 weeks, we see if the gastric emptying is good or not. If it is good, then NG tube can be placed. And this question was again asked, right? It is measured from ear lobule to the tip of the nose to the xiphisternum, right? And if poor gastric emptying is present, then NJ, nasojejunal tube, is placed. Like you put the tube directly in the jejunum, so there is no role of stomach or the gastric emptying. If the tube needs to be placed for more than 3 weeks, then we see again if the gastric emptying is good or not. If it is good, then feeding gastrostomy is done, right? It is of three types: stam, Witzel, and peg. Right, stam is a stab incision. The disadvantage is that the opening increases with time, and which leads to increased peridrain leakage. Witzel, here a tunnel is made, right, and piercing the tunnel, the tube is put. There is decreased peridrain leakage. And finally, peg is percutaneous endoscopic gastrostomy. Here what you do is push and pull introducer method. If the gastric emptying is pure, then feeding jejunostomy is done, and here again stam and Witzel method can be used, right? Complications can be tube related. There can be either displacement or migration tube or peridrain leakage. Then most common is osmotic diarrhea, right? Gastrostomy, it is more physiological, but there is increased risk of aspiration. For parenteral nutrition, it can either be given by a central line. The most common route is by a subclavian vein. Second, a PICC line, which is a peripherally inserted central catheter, or a peripheral line. Here, a wide bore short length cannula is used. Right. PICC line, it can be of two types: high osmolar, that is increased carbohydrates are given, or low osmolar, where there is decreased carbohydrate diet is given. Right. It is low osmolar is preferred in patient with pulmonary failure. And the complications are very important again. Right, with central line related complications can be the pneumothorax, embolism, thrombosis, migration, and blockade. And the most common is catheter in CRS, catheter related sepsis or catheter induced sepsis. Then feeding regime complications, the most common is hyperglycemia, and second is refeeding syndrome. Here there is decreased phosphate, decreased magnesium, decreased potassium, right? Then it can lead to fluid overload, CHF, and arrhythmia. Then aortic rupture, the most common site is distal to ligamentum arteriosum, and the management is, if the heart rate is less than 80 per minute and mean arterial pressure is 60 to 70, that is the patient is in shock, give beta blockers. For head injury, right, remember that if the BP is, this is very important, that for 15 to 49 years, right, if the BP is more than 100 or more than 110, or BP is more than 100 in 50 to 70 years, like for younger patients less than 50, 110, and for 50 to 60 or elderly patients more than 100, if the ICP is raised, right? So prophylactic drugs are not given. Right, here the very important thing to know is the cerebral perfusion pressure. It is mean arterial pressure minus ICP, and the cerebral perfusion pressure should be 60 to 70 mmHg. So if the ICP is increased, that means this cerebral perfusion pressure will fall, right? And the similarly, if mean arterial pressure it increases, this means the cerebral perfusion pressure will increase. So if the pressure is already high, the CPP is maintained and it is auto regulated, right? So there is no role of prophylactic antibodies. How will we manage then? First of all, the SpO2 should be more than 95%, BP more than equal to 100. These are the goals for management, right? Then, what is this? PbO2. I don't know what is this. I think partial pressure of O2, maybe. More than 50, I need to check this. I'm not too sure about this. More than 15 mmHg. Cerebral perfusion pressure, very important. It should be more than 60 mmHg. Otherwise, you will go into death, brain dead, and if it is less than zero, we'll read about this, right? Then glucose should be 80 to 180 milligram per deciliter. This is the normoglycemia, and there is no role of steroids in management of increased ICT in trauma. Then for cervical spine imaging, there are two things: the Canadian C-spine rule and the Nexus criteria. The Nexus stand for, you can expand the abbreviation, N neurological deficit, ET alcoholic intoxication, ETOH alcoholic intoxication, then extreme distraction injury, unable to provide history, that is altered consciousness, and spinal tenderness. If any one is present, then cervical spine imaging is done. If all the criteria are absent, then there is no need to undergo imaging for cervical spine. Right. So here the fluid is given according to the Parkland formula, that is 4 into body weight into total body surface area that is burned, right? And this is calculated by the Wallace rule of 9. Remember, there has been an update in the new Bailey that it is now 2 into body weight into TBSA, right? Remember, judicious use of fluids, so it has been reduced to half. If it is mentioned that according to the Parkland formula, then you can use this equation. But if it is not mentioned anywhere and it just says that how much fluid should be given, so it is calculated by 2 into body weight into total body surface area, right? So here is the new guidelines, right? For flame or scalp burns in adults, it is 2 into body weight into TBSA, and the urine output should be 0.5 ml per kg per hour. Children less than 14 years, it is 3 into body weight into TBSA, and for infants or young children or less than 30 kg, it is 3 into body weight into TBSA plus maintenance fluid is also given, right? And in children, the output should be 1 ml per kg per hour. For electrical burns or deep burns in all the ages, the formula is 4 into body weight into TBSA till the urine clears out. Very important, right? And the urine output should be 1 to 1 ml per kg per hour. This is a very important table. Nutritional requirement in burns. So the 100 to 120%, there is 100 to 120% increase in the nutritional requirement. If the basal energy expenditure, that is BEE, is 1, it means normal. In severe burns, it is increased to 2, that is approx 40 kilocalorie per kg per day, right? Maximum N2 loss is on day 5 to day 10. Then the protein is calculated using the Davies formula, which is, in children it is 3 gram per kg plus 1 into body surface area, and in adults it is 1 gram per kg plus 3 into body surface area. ठीक है, उल्टा है, चिल्ड्रन में 3 then 1, adults में 1 then 3. Then 15 to 20% of all calories should come from proteins. And any burn patient with more than 15% burns, NG tube should be placed. Then circumferential burns, they lead to compartment syndrome. So here escharotomy or fasciotomy is done, right? What is cut is the skin, subcutaneous tissue, superficial fascia, and the deep fascia. The most common cause of death in burns, immediate is asphyxia or a neurogenic shock. Then early cause of death is a hypovolemic shock, while late is the septic shock, and septic shock is the overall most common cause of death in a burns patient. Filigree is a superficial burn. It is seen when lightning strikes pole like sparks fly, and there is a tree-like pattern on the face. And surgical site infection. If there is no implant, then it is seen within 30 days, and with implant it can be seen up to 1 year. So the methods to reduce it, the most important is hand washing. This question has been asked, and people always make a mistake in attempting simple questions. Like, we are good at attempting the most difficult question, which are rare questions, but simple questions like this year it was asked about physiological discharge. Right, most of the people made a mistake. Then again, with method to reduce surgical site infection, people will go around about marking prophylactic antibiotics, but the most important is hand washing, because it is the most common way through which the infection is spread, like from the hands of the healthcare provider. ठीक है. Then prophylactic antibiotic, the best time is 1 hour before the surgery. And remember, if the surgery is prolonged, then it is repeated at 4 hours. Right. Then shower with antiseptic. The patient is advised to undergo a shower with antiseptic solution a night before. Hair clipping inside the OT is now the best method. Hair shaving is not done. Then normoglycemia should be maintained. There should be proper homeostasis. Oxygen should be given in the post-op period till patient is in the recovery room. The OT temperature 18 to 21 degrees Celsius, and the relative humidity should be 50 to 60%. Then there is no role of prolonged antibiotics in clean contaminated surgeries. All right. Only for contaminated and dirty surgeries, the role of prolonged antibiotics, that is a repeat dose at 4 hours, is advocated. Then alcohol-based skin prior to surgery in most cases. Right. Like for abdomen in males, it is clean from nipple to the mid thigh, and female from the inframammary fold to mid thigh. We don't apply any topical antimicrobial to the incision. Then aortic aneurysm, right? It is classified according to the Crawford classification. There is another video for all the classifications at one place. All right. So the link is in the description again for that. So right, type 1 is left subclavian to infrarenal. Okay. Type 2 is left subclavian to aortic bifurcation. Type 3 is mid descending aorta to aortic bifurcation, and type 4 is upper abdominal aorta to infrarenal aorta. Okay. The best graft is a Dacron graft, and it is sutured with the help of Prolene 20 sutures. Then DVT, right? Phlegmasia cerulea doluens. It is extensive DVT of major axial deep venous channel of lower limb. Right. Here it has there is painful blue limbs, while Phlegmasia alba dolens, it is painful white limb. You can make it out from the words only. Alba means white, cerulea means blue. And there is a syndrome, Meyer-Thurner syndrome. Here what happens is that the left iliac vein is compressed by the right iliac artery. That leads to left iliac vein thrombosis. This is Meyer-Thurner syndrome. The most common veins to undergo DVT are the calf or the soleal veins. But if it is asked that which is the most common vein giving rise to pulmonary thromboembolism, then it is the iliofemoral. The earliest feature is pain, while the most common clinical feature is limb edema. Target INR. It is in DVT. It should be 2 to 3, and normally remember that target INR should be 1.5 to 2.5. In DVT it is 2 to 3, and if the patient has mechanical heart valve, it should be in the range of 2.5 to 3.5. Then oral anticoagulant for DVT, it is given up to 3 months, but if the DVT is recurrent, then it is given lifelong. Right. IVC filter, that is the Greenfield filter, right? It is contraindicated for OSC, and it is given if there is pulmonary embolism despite OSC. Sorry, right? Then some scores in wound. They are asepsis score and the Southampton grading. They are again mentioned in the scoring videos, right? Then varicose veins. More than 3 millimeter is varicose veins, which is in the CEAP classification, which is very important. It is asked in all exams this year, so this should be by heart. I have mentioned it in the scores or classification video, right? Right. So more than 3 mm is varicose veins, 1 to 2 mm is reticular veins, and less than 1 mm is dermal flares or thread veins. Then for veins that are less than 3 mm, sclerotherapy can be used, and the most common substance is sodium tetradecyl sulfate. This is a very ASMR-ish procedure. If you have seen a video, just type on YouTube sclerotherapy for reticular veins, and they inject sodium tetradecyl sulfate, and the veins vanish like magic. It's very nice. It's therapeutic actually to watch it, and more therapeutic to actually perform it. Then elastic bandage can be placed for 3 to 5 days, and then elastic stockings can be put for 2 weeks. Right. Then varicose vein surgery, the most common complication is bruising. Mycotic aneurysm. The most common is the most common artery involved is the femoral, and the most common cause is staph aureus, right? And invasive BP monitoring is done in radial artery. Okay. Aortic dissection. Most common clinical feature is chest pain radiating to the back, and the most common side is ascending thoracic aorta lateral wall. Okay. Aortic aneurysm. The most common site. Aortic injury. The most common site is distal to ligamentum arteriosum. Aortic rupture, while aortic dissection is ascending thoracic aorta lateral wall. Okay. Then investigation of choice for stable is CT angio, and for unstable, this question again asked in November INI-CT. Sorry, this was asked in I think NEET this year, some recent exam. That for unstable patient with aortic dissection, the investigation of choice is transesophageal echocardiography. Okay, then sarcoma. Sarcoma that metastasize to the lymph nodes are given by the pneumotic MARSIS, right? Malignant fibrous histiocytoma, MFH. This is the most common sarcoma. Angiosarcoma, it is seen in patient with long-standing lymphedema. This is also asked in some NEET question. I think NEET 19 maybe. That is called as Stewart-Travis syndrome. Right, remember May-Thurner syndrome is the left iliac vein thrombosis, while Stewart-Travis syndrome is lymphedema in a patient with long-standing angiosarcoma. Then rhabdomyosarcoma, clear cell sarcoma, epithelial and synovial sarcoma. For clearance, we need to go beyond the compartmental bound. Then melanoma. The most common is superficial spreading type. It is most common in a pre-existing mole. And the most common type in a pre-existing mole is also superficial spreading. Most common under nail of bread is acral lentiginous. The best prognosis is with lentigo maligna, right? It is in situ melanoma. Most common in dark skin is again acral lentiginous, and the worst prognosis is with nodular melanoma. A variant can be amelanotic melanoma. Right, remember resection margin in situ, it is 0.5, right? Less than 1 mm, it is 1 centimeter, or 1 to 2 mm, 1 to 2 centimeter, and more than 2 mm, it is more than 2 centimeter. Like it goes according to the size of the melanoma only. Then mediastinal mass. Most common mediastinal mass is a thymoma, right? On CT, it is very well appreciated. The most common middle mediastinal mass, if they ask, it is a pericardial cyst, and the most common site is the right cardiophrenic angle. Most common posterior mediastinal mass, it is a neurogenic tumor, right? It is also common in children. And the most common site for lymphoma, it is, if they ask, it is the anterior mediastinum. Then there are two areas in the abdomen where staplers and tackers should not be used during laparoscopic inguinal surgery. This is again asked, the triangle of doom, the triangle of pain, and the trapezoid of disaster. Okay, so triangle of doom. It is bounded by vas deferens laterally, testicular vessels medially, and inferiorly by the Peritoneal reflection. It contains the internal iliac vessels and the genital branch of genitofemoral nerve. Right. This is the triangle of doom. Uh, then triangle of pain. It is bounded by the peritoneal reflection, right? Then medially by the testicular vessels and superiorly by the iliopubic tract. It contains femoral branch of genitofemoral nerve, then femoral nerve and the lateral cutaneous nerve, all the femoral nerves, right? So the most common nerve to get entrapped during laparoscopic surgery is the lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh, and this leads to myalgia paresthetica. These two triangles combine to form the trapezoid of disaster. Okay, remember this. This is important and very easy to learn. Then corona mortis, it lies just behind the pubic tubercle, and there is abnormal communication between obturator and the iliac vessels. Okay, now transplant. Renal, there is post-renal graft thrombosis within 2 to 3 days. In liver, there is vanishing duct syndrome with chronic graft rejection. The most common vascular complication is hepatic artery thrombosis. And heart, the ischemia time, it is less than 4 hours. Remember, the cold ischemia time is minimum for heart, which is 4 hours, and maximum for kidney, which is 24 to 36 hours. Right, the organs are stored in University of Wisconsin solution at 4 degrees Celsius. Then Maastricht criteria. This was asked in NEET 19, right? Uh, this is for non-beating heart donors. So remember, class 2, sorry, class 3 and class 4 are controlled class, right? In class first, the patient is brought dead, and what can we harvest are heart walls and cornea. Second is failed resuscitation. Here, along with heart walls and cornea, kidney can also be harvested. Class 3 is awaiting cardiac arrest, and class 4 is cardiac arrest following a brainstem death. Right. Class 5 is cardiac arrest in a hospitalized patient. In class 3, 4, and 5, all the organs can be harvested. This was the question that was asked, class 3, awaiting cardiac arrest. Then most common tumor in post-transplant patient, right? It is squamous cell carcinoma, that is a skin tumor, and the most common type of renal rejection is chronic, that is type 4 hypersensitivity reaction. Then dominant liver transplant, it is liver is taken from the donor who is suffering from a systemic disease like amyloidosis. All right. Now, very important part is coming, that is SIRS, systemic inflammatory response syndrome. It is defined as if any of the two is present. First, temperature either less than 36, more than 38, WBC less than 2000 or more than 12,000, or there are more than 10% band in peripheral smear, pulse rate more than 90 per minute, respiratory rate more than 20 per minute, and PCO2 less than 32 per minute. ठीक है, तो क्या क्या हो गया? टेम्परेचर, WBCs, temperature, WBC, pulse rate, respiratory rate, and CO2. All right, QSOFA, this is important. This is BP is less than 100, respiratory rate is more than 22, altered mental status. So the question that was asked was which of the following is not a part of QSOFA, and altered mental status is GCS, Glasgow Coma Scale. ठीक है, so here heart rate is not included, and if the score is 2 or more than 2, it implies a greater risk. What is the full form SOFA? It is a sequential organ failure assessment score. Then sepsis 3.0, right? Here life-threatening dysfunction, it is defined as life-threatening dysfunction due to dysregulated host response to infection. Septic shock, it is defined when vasopressor is needed and the lactate is more than 2 millimole per liter. Now, terms like severe sepsis and SIRS have been removed, and terms like QSOFA and SOFA are used. Now, some positions. So, Fowler position is the sitting position, or a 45-degree inclined sitting position. It is done in neurosurgery, right? And there is a risk of air embolism. This question is asked everywhere, right? Then lithotomy. Here, the most common nerve injured is common peroneal nerve, right? And in jackknife, position, there is a risk of positional asphyxia. Then instruments like blades can be asked. So number 11 is a stab blade, which is used for incision and drainage, and 12 is used for suture removal. Rest or are used for putting up incisions, right? And the sharpest portion of the blade is the belly of the blade, right? And this question is also asked that incision is given from left to right if the surgeon is right-handed, and from right to left if the surgeon is left-handed. Like, it gives better control of the blade. Now, cautery, it can be bipolar or a monopolar cautery. Bipolar cautery, remember, it is safe in CHF and parotid surgeries, right? Harmonic scalpel, it is 25 to 50 kilohertz oscillation is used. It does coagulation without any heat production. Then ligashore, the first generation can coagulate, while the second generation can coagulate in cut, and it can seal vessels up to 7 mm. Thunderbeat S, it is a combination of the harmonic scalpel with and a ligashore. Circular stapler and linear stapler, they are used for bowel anastomosis. Veress needle, it is used to confirm pneumomediastinum, and there a drop at the opening, right? How do we confirm the pneumoperitoneum? We put a drop of water at the opening, and if we are inside the abdominal cavity, it gets sucked in. This is also very ASMRish to watch, right? You can see the video. Then trocar, right? It is metallic or a plastic trocar, right? In metallic trocar, there can be current leak which leads to burn abdomen, this is known as capacitance. With plastic trocar, there is no issue of capacitance, so plastic trocar is preferred. Then single insertion laparoscopic surgery is a new advancement. Da Vinci robotic system, right? And notes, this is natural orifice are used to insert the port, like uterus, right? And in males, oral cavity can be used. Then robotic versus laparoscopic. What are the advantages of robotic surgery? More freedom of movement. There is 7 degree of freedom, 3D vision, tremor reduction, and there is scaling. There can be scaling of movement. What are the disadvantages of robotic surgery? That it is expensive, longer learning curve, and there is loss of tactile feedback. Then incision. This is very important. There are two types of incision. This was again asked in November INICT. November 21 INICT, like the recent INICT. So Rutherford Morris is a muscle cutting incision, and the muscle splitting incision is Gridiron, Lance, and Rocky Davis. So what they asked in the question was that a surgeon was operating on this thing appendix, and he had made a gridiron incision. So he cannot visualize something like that. I don't remember what exactly was the question, but he wanted to extend the incision and convert it into Rutherford Morris. So what all muscles would be cut in Rutherford Morris incision? So the answer to this is external oblique, internal oblique, and transversus abdominis fascia. Right, this would be cut to convert a gridiron into a Rutherford Morris incision. Surgical safety checklist. This was asked in AIMS, PGI, everywhere, so it is a potential INICT question, right? So what are the components? So this is the basic thing. First is sign in, time out, and then sign out. Sign in is done in ward when the patient is shifted from ward to the OT, right? Here the identity is confirmed, site marking is done, written consent is taken, prophylactic antibiotic, serology, and any allergies are checked. Timeout is before skin incision. Here again, identity and identity is confirmed. Surgeon tells the name of the surgery, duration, and the expected blood loss. And then anesthetics. They give prophylactic antibiotics, and key concerns are serial. Then sign out. It is done before the skin closure, right? The nurse counts the instruments and the number of gauge pieces. The surgeon name of the actual surgery that was performed, and the anesthetic tells about blood loss and any other concerns. Okay. Remember, gauge pieces are counted in the sign out time, and there is no such thing as time in. Okay. Sign in, time out, and sign out. Then OT zoning. There is protective zone. It consists of changing rooms and the transfer bay. Then clean zone. It consists of the equipment storage room. This was asked. Then aseptic zone. It is the OT. And finally, the disposal zone. And cannula, it is very important. It is asked everywhere. So I remember it by drawing the earth, right? So first is orange, which is the core, and gray, it is the dirt, right? So this is 14, 16. Then grass is green. This is 18. I don't know what is 28. 18. Then comes the flower, pink. This everyone remembers. This is 20. And then comes the sky, which is blue, which is 22. And the sun, that is yellow, 24. Okay. Now what we need to remember is the flow rate. So this is the smallest, this is the largest, and it is used in emergency. So flow rate increases. So what do? We just add. So for yellow it is 10, for blue it is 30, for pink it is 50, green 80, 130, 210, 270. Okay. So this was the question that was again asked. 18, it is the it 86, it was given in the INICT exam. Okay. So this is how I remembered by adding it. Okay. 10, then add 20, 30, 30 में 20, 50, 50, 30, 80, 80, 50, 130, then 130, 80, 210, and then 270. So green ka it was asked in November INICT this year. This is like not the actual flow rate, this is the approximate flow rate. Then suture knot. Okay. So first is square or the reef knot, right? Here it is crossed twice and it is a secure knot. So this would be the image. Then surgeon knot, it is crossed twice in first go. This is twice, and then single in the second go, right? Then granny's knot, it is square knot without the crossing. So if the suture is both is passing below, then it is granny's knot, while if one passes above and the other passing below, this is the surgeon's knot. Okay, then Aberdeen knot, it is a close continuous suture, and a square throw, it is like one cross. So remember, surgeon's knot, this is only the important knot that is asked. There is two cross and you cross it again, and then one cross, two and one. Okay, two नीचे, one ऊपर. Mattress suture, then vertical, it can be vertical suture or horizontal. Vertical suture is for eversion of skin edges. Horizontal is for eversion plus homeostatic. Okay, and in horizontal there is least cut through rate. Subcuticular suture, it is 30 monocryl. This is asked. Monocryl subcuticular sutures with the cutting needle, cutting body needle is used. Then running locked sutures, it is even, it provides even distribution of tension. Then far near far suture, it is for better obliteration of the cavity. Okay, remember the distance between two sutures should be the depth of the wound, and for closing of the abdominal sutures, the ideal suture length is 4 times the incision length. Then needle. Okay, the swage end is where the thread is put and the pointed end is through where suturing is done. A needle holder is placed 1/3 from the swaged end and 2/3 from the pointed end. That is, it should be near the swaged end. Then the round body needle, if you see the cross sectional area is round and is used for delicate suturing like bowel, bladder, CBD, and ureter. Then cutting or reverse cutting, it is pointed inwards, right? Cutting is pointed inwards and reverse cutting is pointed outwards, and It is used for tough structures like skin and fascia. Then compound curvature. Here both round body and cutting body is the cross sectional area. Used in oral cavity, half circle, GIT, quarter circle, it is for eye, and J shaped, it is used for vaginal surgery, other types of needles. Then sutures, very important. Then remember, number one suture, it is the thickest, and as the number increases, it is finest. Like it can be 10, 20, 30, like 12 0. 12 0 is the finest. Most inert is a synthetic non-absorbable suture. Steel suture is used for sternal wound after CABG. Antibody coated suture, it is Vicryl plus triclosan. Barbed suture, uh, here no, there is no need to secure the suture with a knot. It is a very painful procedure. It is also a barbed Vicryl suture. Then suture is removed earliest from the face 3 days, then scalp and neck 7 days, thorax 10 to 12 days, abdominal 12 to 14 days, and perineum minimum 14 days. Then silk, for skin suturing, silk and nylon is used. Preferred is 3-0. Subcuticular already done, 3-0 monocryl suture with a cutting body needle. For CBD and ureter, Vicryl or PDS is used. For bladder, the first layer is sutured with a Vicryl and the second with a silk. And for tendon and nerve, nylon. For eye, a 10-0 silk is used, like in cataract surgery. For vascular, a Prolene suture is used, right? And a 2-0 Prolene is preferred. For rectus sheath, number one Prolene, and for drain and chest tube, number one silk, right? Because drain and chest tube are to be sutured to the skin, so silk is used, right? Let us revise again. Silk, this is the black one. Silk and nylon, जो कपड़े होते हैं ना हम स्किन पे पहनते हैं, तो कपड़े वाले सूचर्स लाइक सिल्क एंड नायलॉन, दे आर फॉर स्किन सूचरिंग. मोनोक्रिल, दिस शुड बी रिमेंबर्ड, इज फॉर सबक्यूटिकुलर सूचरिंग. ठीक है. अब CBD एंड यूरेटर, दे आर ऑल ट्यूब्स, सो दे आर सूचर्ड विद वाइक्रिल एंड PDS. फिर ब्लैडर is related to ureter, so first layer would be Vicryl and second layer is near to the skin, so silk. Then tendon and nerve, ठीक है. N से nerve, N से nylon. Tendon is also with nerve, remember this somehow, I don't know. Then eye is very simple, the thinnest suture 10-0 silk, because eye is also like बाहर वाला organ ना skin के पास, the skin के just नीचे, so the बाहर से दिखती है आँख, तो silk. Then vascular suture is by Prolene, ठीक है. like aorta is VIP ना, तो फिर vascular Prolene. Then rectus sheath is also Prolene, so Prolene is for rectus sheath and vessels, and Vicryl is for bladder and ureter. ठीक है. these two are very important, remember just these two. Which one? These two, Vicryl and Prolene, the uses. This is only asked. Okay, the pneumatic pump, it is to prevent DVT. An anti-shock garment is used in hypovolumic shock. Pictorial catheter, everyone knows, it is used for draining abscess. Then wound healing, it can be done by primary intention, secondary intention, and tertiary intention. Primary intention is just suturing the wound. Secondary intention is leaving it open where there is more contracture and more granulation tissue. And tertiary intention is delayed suturing. It is a type of primary closure only.